What are you doing?
I don't know, I'm having low energy.
Here, look. Hi, Mother Hustlers.
Sorry. Hi, Mother Hustlers! Thanks so much for joining us today. We are talking about something that I feel like needs to be talked about.
Definitely needs to be talked about.
Yes.
Talked about.
I can't even. So we're going to be talking today about adopting teens and kind of the good and the bad, what we've experienced. Is it something we would say that you should do or don't do? Yes, because we've done it a lot. So right up front, yes.
Yes, you should adopt teens.
Absolutely. So we've had some hard experiences, and we're going to talk about that today, and some really amazing, great experiences. So, yeah. Okay, so let's start out with the hard. We want to talk about our first placements, or kind of when we realize, Crystal's is really funny. I can't wait for you to hear hers. Okay, so real quick, for me, I was only going to do newborns, maybe 2-3 years old. That was about it, because I had Landon, who was still in diapers, and I really didn't want him to learn like bad words or things that I felt like, would come with teens. Our very first placement that we got, I got a newborn, a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Cutest kids ever. Oh my God.
So cute. Actually, side note, her name was Annabea, which is where Annabea, my other daughter, eventually got her name. So, okay. So, got them so excited. And the very first thing that this little boy does is walk up to Jared and say, "Hey, mother effer." And said something like, where are we going? Or that kind of thing. And then I realized that she had even a worse mouth.
Oh my God.
I would be like, "Oh, I think you need to go to timeout." And she'd be like, "F you." And so bad.
Like some bad words. And I was like, "Oh, did you not say that?"
I called Crystal. I was like, "Wait till you hear how my new kids talk." So I learned right up front, first placement, that it doesn't matter what age you're taking in, because it just depends on the kids. It's just who the kids are. Yeah. So, okay. So your experience was even
Oh my
funnier.
gosh. So I was really young when I started doing foster care. I was 25. And so I was like, in my mind, I only want to do 0 to 7. It's what I feel comfortable with. I had Hallie and Max. They were little. And I was like, I just feel like that's like the perfect age, 0 to 7. In my mind, I thought that. So I was moving houses, and in that process, I was moving counties, so they made me switch agencies. As I was switching agencies, they have to update your license, and they put a 1 in front of that 7. So it was now 0 to 17 instead of just 0 to 7.
And I remember that. You started getting calls, and you're like, "They're giving me calls for teenagers." And she called me, and I was like, "Do it."
I was like, "What? But we're not that far in age. And what am I going to do? And I've never parented a teen. I'm still a teen. I feel like it's not." I don't know. It's, But so anyway, so they got that one phone call was like, "Listen," because I was like, I wasn't supposed to be on this teen list. I don't know how I got there, but somehow I'm there. And she was like, "She's 3 months away from being 18. This is a 3-month thing. And you can do it." And I was like, "Yeah,
3 months?
I can do anything for 3 months." That's what I thought in my mind. But her coming in and just learning all about her and all of that, it was a really neat experience because it was different than any of the other little kids that I'd taken in. And it was her understanding
It's very different.
of the situation was so very different. And
so like I've had kids that are younger, and they really believe that, like I had one that really thought I kidnapped him.
Oh, yeah.
And it was really hard. Their understandings, not quite there, but as teens, they definitely understand. And so I feel like in that way, it is really good to be able to, have good conversations. And they understand.
Yeah. And they could tell me from what they remember from their past, and I can understand them more. And like, it was really good. She was the sweetest girl and amazing singer. Oh my gosh.
Amazing.
She had the best voice. I was like, "I will drive you to America's Got Talent like 2 days name. Because
I remember
she
would put us all, like her family and my family together in a room, and she would just sing songs for us. And I would literally sit there and cry because it was the most amazing voice.
Yeah. So, incredible voice.
And I don't know what you want me to say this, but I know she recently reached out to Crystal. I had her a few months ago, and she got to talk to her, and she's doing really good.
Such a special moment. And she just bawled, and she was like, how much you helped me in those 3 months. I'm trying not to cry about it, but she's like, and she's like, I pushed you away because she was still dealing with trauma, and they're still dealing with so much, and sometimes they don't know how to accept the love in their life and how to really work through that grief. And she's at a point now where she's worked through a lot of that, and she called to just tell me thank you. And she bawled, and she said how much she loves me, and it was just like this moment that I was like,
I think that you guys would still have like a really close relationship if she lived in this. She lives really far away.
She lives in a different state now and far away. Otherwise, I would very much be involved in her life because I love her. I really love her. Aww. And because I took her in, I got a call from that same caseworker that was like, I have one other one. Like, you took this one, like, but there's one more. She's 16, and will you take her in? I was like, listen, we've talked about this. This is not where I saw my path going. And this one happened to be Melinda, which, as you guys know, is one of our daughters. Same thing. I was like, let her come over for dinner and we'll talk. And like instantly, I just felt like this is my daughter and this is where I was meant to be. And so going into foster care, not thinking even teens were an option for me, my mind was slowly changed through these 2 experiences where I'm like, you know what? Like, whatever's meant to be is what's going to be with them. And so...
Yeah. And you had some amazing teenagers.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Sure. So one of the next ones, so labeling kids. And with teens in particular, there's more labels usually because they've been in care longer, or they can talk about things from their past. Or
and I feel like something that happened when they were 5, at like 15, they're still talking about it as a label that they label these kids. I honestly can say all the labels that were put on my kids before they came in, they don't have one of them.
Right, and it's like crazy labels.
You had one.
Oh my gosh! So
she got one that was a fish killer.
Fish killer.
He's probably going to steal your car, and there was something else.
And fire starter.
Oh, he's a fire starter. Yeah.
And I was like, I can't take in a teen like that. Like, they're like, hide your keys, like all that kind of stuff. But
it was only supposed to be for the weekend.
Yes, but they were like, listen, there's no group homes, there's no shelters, there's no fosters, there's nothing available. This was a Friday night, and they were like, can you just take him until Monday? Take him till Monday, we will find a group home, we'll find something that's available. And I was like, okay, I can hide my keys for the weekend. I can hide all the lighters in that. Like, I don't know. Like, what do you do?
You don't have any fish.
I don't have any fish. So I was like, okay, we're okay there. But talking to him through the weekend, it was not the case at all. He had taken a magnifying glass in the backyard. And you know how like you do this as a kid and you put it over a leaf and the sun's shining through?
Or an ant or something, you know? Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Okay. I know people have done that. Okay. I have not done that.
I haven't done that. Just say that.
I don't know. Okay, anyway.
Keep going. Okay, so that labeled him as a fire starter.
He lit some leaves. He blew, like it, when it was in a whole fire, it was like he burned anything down. But so that was where fire starter came from. The fish killer thing, I was like, okay, like, is he going to hurt animals? Is he going to, because we have dogs, and I was concerned about that. And what happened was in school, he thought, he was trying to get attention and be the class clown and that kind of thing. And his teacher had a fish on the desk and had this whole thing of food. And he took the entire thing of food and dumped it in the fish tank. And everyone in the class laughed.
Did it kill the fish?
It was funny. Yeah, 2 days later, the fish died.
Oh, so now he's a fish
killer. So it's very sad.
That's sad.
Yeah, it was very sad. But again, he wasn't like, oh, I'm going to drown. No. Can you drown a fish? I don't know if you can drown a fish. Okay, he wasn't purposely trying to kill the fish.
He overfed them. Yeah, he shouldn't have had that label.
Yeah, and then the stealing the car thing. Basically, his grandparents had let him use a car. He got in a car accident. His grandparents wanted to go through insurance. In order to do that, they had to say that he stole the car and did not have permission to drive it. And he had to pay the consequences for that accident too. So...
Yeah. Okay, so be careful of labels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry if you can hear
Hold
my
on,
dogs.
we're gonna get the dogs.
It's okay. The dogs are barking at the front door or something. It's okay. Continue.
Yeah.
Okay. So be careful.
So labels.
Yeah. Labels.
Don't always listen to them. Figure out for yourself. Ask questions about the stories. Like figure
what actually
out
happened.
really,
How long ago did it happen?
Oh, and that boy he was 16. He ended up staying with us until he aged out at 18. So it wasn't just for the weekend, and he was the most incredible kid to this day. I still really, really love him.
Yes.
And
yeah. Okay, so what was I going to say with that? Hold on. We made some notes. Okay, so the other thing is...
oh my gosh, the homeless rate.
Yes, okay, so 31 to 46% of youth exiting foster care experience homelessness. That's awful.
So sad.
That should not be like that.
It should not.
That should not.
But they don't have that love and support, and like they age out and they're like, okay, like
they don't have anyone.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of how one of our daughters, Nicole, we have not adopted her. Her brother is Jacob, and so we feel like she's supposed to be ours. So the second that she turned 18 and was out of foster, we were there. Absolutely.
Was she ever a foster placement with you?
She was not. So I can't. Yeah, I can't adopt her. I can't adopt her. So we do have a kid that you've heard me talk about before. We took in as a teen. We actually took him from a drug rehab facility, and which I was like, did not want to do. My caseworker kept saying, no, I'm telling you, this boy's supposed to be yours. He's supposed to be. I didn't listen. And she made an appointment and said, just go meet him. I'm not asking you to take him, just meet him. Well, with meeting him 15 minutes later, I knew he was supposed to be ours. And so he came into our house, and unfortunately we can't adopt him. We couldn't then, because they have what's called long-term foster care. Long-term foster care. It's basically where they feel like the kids are not going to get adopted, and so they just hope that their parents pull it together and they just leave them in, and they don't ever sever rights.
Right. They don't go through all the paperwork and all the hard part of like severing a parent's rights. They're like, chances of this kid being adopted are pretty much zero, so we're just not going to go through that process. So they're actually unadoptable at that point because their rights are
But don't be scared of that. Don't be scared of that. No,
because here's the icing on the cake with that is I found out recently, a couple years ago, that as long as they're a foster care placement, once they turn 18, you can adopt them.
Which is Melinda, right?
Yeah, Melinda, we found out, and she was like 25, 26 when we adopted her because we didn't know until then.
Yeah.
But don't be scared if they're unadoptable because and I don't know. I've told some of my kids that it's just a paper though too.
That's how I feel. That's why Nicole is part of our family. It's a paper.
Right. You're really adopted in our hearts.
You're adopted in our hearts, and it's okay. With this boy that I took in, his name was Connor. He had some other circumstances, and he needed to leave our house for a while, but he was supposed to be returning to us. And then he ran away where he was. And so he wasn't able to come back to us. And it just made us so sad. And we have been looking for him. We found him. Unfortunately, he's in prison though. And so we're going to find out if we can do prison visits, what we can do. I still 100% feel that he's supposed to be part of our family. I don't know, crack.
He was a good kid.
He's supposed to be part of our family. And so we're hoping that, through visits and, whatever we can do, we're going to do.
And knowing that law now, like you can adopt him.
If that's a possibility and that's something that he would want, absolutely on our side.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
Oh.
So anyway,
it's hard for these teens going through all this different stuff and kind of not having a support and like a stable base in your life. That's really, really difficult. So I feel like
it is. So what we're trying to say out of this whole thing is don't be afraid of teens. Don't be afraid that everything that you hear, is reality, because for us, it hasn't been that way. Mm-hmm. For sure, we have taken in teens that it's been hard and struggle, but I feel like I've learned so much, and still we've been able to have these really great relationships come out of it.
Right.
So
real quick with that, I had a teen one time at one point, because I know I've had every teen, like I'm like, oh, it worked out. There are some teens that don't work out. Mm-hmm. And I had a girl in particular that didn't want to be in a family. She wanted the freedom of a foster home versus a group home. And the second she came into our house, I had actually was going out of town that weekend, and it was Erin home with the kids, and she ran away. And she ended up showing up, like, I think a day or two later. Like, it was reported to the police and all that, but she ended up showing up, and she was drunk, and she was like, no, like, I just wanted to be here because I could get away with stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, no, that's not our house at all. You're not going to be, be able to get away with stuff. But at that point, I realized, though, that she needed some more help, and she needed something more. There are DDD homes and other homes that have additional, therapeutic licenses. And so she needed something higher than what we could offer. But there are situations like that too.
I had that same situation too. I actually vlogged it. It's an older vlog that we had that we had a runaway and how hard that was. So for sure, he ended up being safe and being adopted by his grandpa, and things worked out great for him. But I did feel like he was supposed to be part of our family too. I see when you feel that way. When you feel that way. So I also want to talk just a little bit about something else to watch out for, and it's okay. Is Crystal and I call it fake fantasies.
Oh yeah.
Is they have where. Go ahead and tell one of your stories.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, one of my kids we had gone to like a little amusement park thing that had opened up, and he was like, I've been here like a million times with my birth family. And he was placed with me for like a couple years at this point, and this place had just opened a couple months. And I'm like, I know you're lying because this place just opened up. There's no way you could have been here 100 times previously. You know what I mean? And so he was in therapy at this point. So I talked to his psychologist, and I was like, hey, I don't understand. Like, he's making up these lies and make up these fantasies. And he did it a lot about his birth family. Oh, my birth family would buy me all of these Nike shoes and all of this. Yes. And like, they would have all this stuff. And I was like, then why didn't they come with you? I don't know. It was very confusing. Yeah. But the psychologist said that it's normal for kids to make up fantasies about their previous life when they are working through traumas. And so when they're working through those traumas, they want to try to find some good that they can exaggerate, or a situation that they can try to remember to try to make sense of all of that. It is completely normal. The psychologist said, do not be like, you're a liar. That's not true. Yeah. Let me prove it to you.
Well, I feel like a lot of kids get disrupted for lying or things like that, but it's okay. Yeah. Just let them have it. Just be like, oh, that's great. That's awesome.
That's cool. Yeah. And move on. When they get older and as they mature and as they start making sense of everything in their mind, they will understand that those are fantasies. Yeah, but it's just something that comes with that that they use to comfort
themselves
Right. So let them have that, even though it feels like you shouldn't.
I know.
You should correct lying right away. Okay. Wait, one other story that I want her to tell really quick. Oh. So she got a teen in that was used to being bounced around from house to house. So she decided she didn't want to talk. Tell him the story.
And so, I didn't know. So she's Hispanic, and the first thing that she says to me, and it was really sad how she just got dropped off at her house with no caseworker. It was just kind of difficult. And Crystal actually had one dropped off in a bush one time outside your house. And Crystal went to leave and then realized that this teen that she'd been waiting for to be there for hours was actually outside crying in a bush.
It was the saddest thing.
My gosh. Bro. Okay. So, so she said that she only spoke Spanish. And she's like, I only speak Spanish. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with that? Like, I'm going to have to learn a whole new language. And and whatever. And I just couldn't get her to talk. And after,
for like 4 months.
A really long time. And then I was talking to the caseworker and things, and we just realized that, and she doesn't even speak Spanish.
She didn't know Spanish.
She just didn't want to talk, and probably just needed her quiet time, I'm guessing. I don't know.
And I think she probably was going through in her mind, like, why, like, I'm not going to be here very long. I'm not going to be here very long. Why develop those relationships?
Yeah.
And so, but eventually she started talking, and Shelly and her have a great relationship, and so it's you just don't know. I feel like, teens are going through so much. And a lot of times you think like, oh, they're going to come into your home and they're going to be so grateful. And everything's just going to be roses and whatever.
Yeah, that they should be grateful to be in my house. And that is not how it is.
No.
That is not. They're going through the hardest time in their lives. Like the hardest time. They've just lost their parents, their teachers, their friends, why would they come to your house and be grateful? That's not how they feel at all. And so you really have have to really earn their respect and their love and
build that trust, because they don't have that for adults in a lot of cases. And so it's like, as they come in, why should they? And so you really have to earn that and love and support them and just have that understanding and patience with them. And they're going to work through it. These kids are resilient, and one of the strongest, most incredible
kids
out
stronger. They do.
Are in foster care. So
okay, so don't be afraid of taking in teens.
Yes,
it's been a great experience for us. So anyway,
if you guys have any other additional questions, let us know, because I know we touched on a lot of topics but didn't go into a ton of detail on them. But thank you guys so much for joining us,
and we'll see you soon.
next time.
Bye.